Alright, so I'm going to tie a olive hare's ear parachute. I've got a size hook 10 in the vise. This is going to be a little bit bigger than a lot of people tie these. It's more of an attractor, so I wanted it a little bit bigger. So first I'm going to take some extra small wire. I'm going to wrap it in right on top. And then I'm going to form a loop. Oops. And then what this will do is it'll help stabilize the CDC stems because they're so fine and potentially brittle when you're using them to make a parachute post, that this helps curve some of that problem without adding much weight at all. Okay, bring my thread to the back. Next I'll get my CDC. Now what I've got here are 6 CDC feathers, 3 on each side and then the concave sides facing one another. And I want that to be about the length of the body. I'll place it in right on top. Okay, that's good. And then I'll start to wrap this back and get this so I can get those stems out of the way. The rest of that you can save for something else. Okay, now I'll come forward. And now I can build my post. And that wire provides a lot of stability. And also, if you struggle with just your regular parachutes using like calf tail or whatever, you can use wire as kind of a stem foundation. Okay, now I'm going to bring my thread back to the barb. And for the tail, you'll see a lot of people use different materials here: deer hair, elk, moose. Sorry, I didn't mean to bump the camera. There's a lot of different things you can use, but I'm just going to kind of go with a traditional look of hare's mask. Okay. Alright, that'll work. Let's see if I can get some of these little leftovers out of my way. Okay. For the hackle, I'm going to use a combination of just regular grizzly and silver badger. Trying to get my hackle stems lined up here. And I'm just prepping these barbs off. And first couple turns around the post seem to always be the most difficult, but once you have those down, you can usually work it pretty easy. I'll tie these stems down. Okay. Now for the rib, I'm going to use gold oval tinsel. Okay. Tie it in on the belly. I like the oval tinsel because it didn't really add much as far as weight's concerned. And then for the body, just going to use some olive Hares mask. And just kind of work it. Coming up. Just slowly putting a little bit of a taper in. Okay, bring that to the front side. Now, I'll put my first rib in right at the tail. And if you're not going to use a dubbing loop or something, you just want to make sure that your rib is going the opposite direction, especially with a natural fur like this. I just want to get some nice even spacings coming up. And let's see, sneak one right there. Okay. I'll reverse that just to make sure it stays in. Let me trim this out. Go back to my dub. Come in for the head. And then for the head, I'm just going to use a black marker. And I'm going to do a wet whip on this with the black marker. Just seal everything up one time. Just put a nice little head in. Okay, now we'll invert the fly. And I'll tie back onto my post. Spin this around a couple of times just to capture it. Okay, that's good. Should have pulled out my GSP scissors. Okay, post around. Start bringing my hackle down. Tie that off on the back side. Working underneath all those barbs. Trying to keep as many as possible from being trapped in that leg kind of position. Okay. And I really like cuticle clippers for breaking off my hackle on these kinds of flies. Next, I'm going to color my thread again. And I'm just going to go my traditional way here of gluing it shut. I'm going to rotate my vise so that I can work my thread around all the different barbs and get them hopefully untrapped if they are. I've got a couple trapped there. You just have to trim those out at the very end if they don't want to work with me. There we go. Okay. I'll bring this back up to this normal position. And I just pull that wire to the back and get my wire scissors and sneak them right down. Trim that out to get rid of any excess wire. Put the last touches on it. I have a couple that are sitting just a touch lower than I want. There we go. And that's it. That's how I tie one of these with the CDC post. If you liked the video, always appreciate a thumbs up. Like, subscribe, and share. And as always, happy tying, and we'll see you next time.